Let me introduce you. You introduce everyone else. This is your show. Let me introduce you.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Okay.
All right, guys. The moment that I've been waiting for, the moment you guys should be waiting for, is the one and only Jay Rana talking about everything that he knows, and you are now invited to the Jay Rana Show. Let's go.
What's up, baby? How you doing?
What's
I
going on?
like that. I haven't been introduced to myself. I mean, I usually do all the introductions.
Yeah.
Clearly, right? From the weddings, the podcasts, and
I
all
seen
that
it.
stuff. And I actually have a mix that I made for my own introduction. So before I jump on the floor, I drop that mix and I call it a day. And then I walk out to it. It's all choreographed. It's all skidded and all that nonsense. But I wish I had an MC for me
To MC you in.
to MC me in.
Right? Yeah, it makes sense. Because you need someone to read the crowd, right?
Exactly.
It changes every single time. You made this, years ago, this little intro for yourself,
yeah,
right? You're in
yeah.
a different vibe. The industry's changed. Everything's changed. And I just think it's an honor to be on the show for you to invite me over here. And it is my honor to just introduce you, bro.
Thank you.
You're used to introducing everyone else. It's a lot of work. So
I appreciate
let me return that favor.
I appreciate that. But let me introduce you as well, because I want to make sure that my audience knows exactly who you are, exactly the caliber of person that's at this table, and that way they know what to expect from you, because you're not just Riz. I mean, there's a lot of notches on your belt, like you said to me earlier, right? It's just like that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to Mr. Rizwan Awwal, a.k.a. DJ Riz, a.k.a. Riz, Mr. Happy to Deliver, Mr. Fire and Ice, Mr. Rent the Booth, Mr. Ninjas Marketing, Tribe Studios, Mr. Everything. You are Mr. Marketing himself.
I appreciate
Welcome to the Jay Rana Show, bro.
I feel welcome. I feel honored and really looking forward to the show.
How are you, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm mentally really good. I'm in a great place.
Yeah?
I just turned 40 this year.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to the 40 Club.
Welcome to the 40 Club. Nice. It's the only club I'm part of these days. No more clubbing for me.
When you turned 40, did you feel a certain way?
Yeah, my back hurt right away, as everyone told me.
Your back hurt.
My shoulder's been hurting for a while carrying the team, but now my back's hurting too.
Nice. I remember when I turned 40, man, I went through a little bit of it was like kind of a mixed feelings, because the thing is, obviously it's your birthday, it's a milestone birthday. So you think about like all your achievements, and then you think about all the things you shoulda, woulda, coulda done.
Yeah.
So it's like a road going down two different paths.
Yeah.
Eventually it's going to lead to the same place, but you still got to go down those two roads. When I turned 40, I was like, I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
Scratch that. Censor, please. I'm 40 now, so we can curse.
Okay.
That's,
I got you.
that's a one thing.
Family friendly show.
It is family
Not a
friendly.
problem.
PG-13 as much as possible.
Do I need to beep myself out, or they'll later beep me, or I just don't beep at all?
I think they'll beep you later.
Okay, cool, gotcha. I understand the algorithm.
Yeah, man. Like when I turned 40, I was like, oh shit, what do I do now, right? Because we've done so much already, right? And you feel like by the time you hit 40, you should be somewhere. You should be expected to be something, a husband, a father, some type of a figure, some type of a power figure, right?
Right.
Are you? Are you not? I guess that's all a subjective.
Yeah.
But with you, like I'm going down all the list of your accolades, dude. I mean, that's fantastic. You've done so much in such a short time. I feel like when I first came across you and your name, it was with Fire and Ice. That was what? How long ago was that? That was your first club.
Was 2006 to 2013. I sold it at that time.
Nice. Yeah. I've been to the Fire and Ice.
10 years. Wow. It's 10 years exactly.
10 years.
2023. Yeah, I sold it in September of 2013.
Look at that.
Nice.
And we're talking about it today.
Yeah.
That's a sign for another club to be opened up.
So I believe in experiences, right? Everyone always asks me about Fire and Ice. It was such a big part of, I think, the Desi community in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
So a lot of people know me for that. And it was never a nightclub for me. It was an experiential spot. Around that time, you and I used to be part of that great era, with the Magic Mites, the J Dobbies, right? Karma, all the huge nightclubs, the albums, right? The remixes.
It was all part of it.
VFW.
It was the subculture and stuff.
We created the culture, right?
Yeah.
We were all honored to create the culture.
You see VFWs?
VFW.
Remember the VFW parties?
Knights of Columbus.
Knights of Columbus.
You already know.
And the firehouses at Stoughton Road.
Of course. We had to rent them out for $250, $400, $500 because that's all we could afford at that
all there
time.
was.
and then we would have these huge parties, and then even bigger fights afterwards.
100%. That was part of it. I remember printing the flyers in high school, right, and the graphic arts club, and we always had to write in the bottom, "Come in peace." Or leave in pieces.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember that?
yeah. Punisher Security Squad used to be the crew that used to be security for all the Desi events. They're the only guys who were able to handle all of us.
That means I don't understand why we can't all just get along. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah.
You know, like we were young, we were egotistic, I want to say. I think we still are in our own particular ways, all right?
Yeah.
But I feel like, nowadays, even with the whole wedding scene, right? Ego is a big thing.
Is it with the vendors?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Really?
feel like ego is a big thing. I mean, you're a vendor.
Yeah.
We both have similar companies. We're both in the wedding industry. I have a photo booth company. You have a photo booth company, right? You also do a lot of other things in the wedding industry as well, right?
Right.
What else besides the photo?
We'll do the backdrops. We dabble into more production really than anything else. So not really event coordination, but we'll produce something. It doesn't have to be weddings, but it is in the Desi industry. You see, there's so many concerts now coming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nightclubs, restaurants coming. I'm behind the scenes of a lot of these things, a lot of shows. I'm in this whole podcast world right now. Dive pretty deep. I feel like I've had the opportunity to be a part of a movement before it started for almost 2-3 decades now.
Do you feel like you said, you're a part of the podcast world?
Yeah.
Is that fairly new? Because I'm just getting into it right now.
Is it fairly new for me or the world of podcasting?
Well,
What's
both.
the question? Okay, so
Because I'm learning from you, that's why.
So I've been in the podcast for a few years now,
Okay.
right? Before it was called podcasting, vlogging, blogging, whatever you name it, right? I have a marketing company called Tribe Ninjas.
Yeah.
So it was just part of the evolution of that. Whether you had email flyers or printed flyers that we're going to put outside of Duhan Expo on the cars, to digital advertisement from Facebook or Google, to blogs, right? And then I noticed the vlogs were doing really good on YouTube, and then Instagram came out. They had longer format videos.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing as a marketer, right? To find an audience. So these social media platforms already has an audience that's existing.
A little following.
Right. So if you create content that relates to your followers or people that is interested in that topic or that hashtag, then you're automatically getting the followers in addition to the promotions that you do. So I have a free realm, so why not use it? And that's where the podcast world really blew up. There's really no difference between a vlogger and a podcast person. I would say the main difference is podcast people are in one place where vloggers are moving around or whatnot.
Okay.
So I tried the vlogging. I didn't like the quality of the vlogging. And there's cost behind it, right? So if I'm going to produce something, I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of this run and gun photography, videography, as people call it.
Run and gun.
That's what it's called.
Okay.
You're going to jump out of your car, right? Take some photos somewhere in a place you're not supposed to. You don't have permits. We don't have licenses.
Okay.
We're not Hollywood.
Okay.
So they call it run and gun.
Okay.
Right? So unless we're doing a full production.
I've never heard of it before. This will be your first time. See, I'm telling you, I'm always learning from you, bro. All this time, I'm like, behind the scenes, all the marketing. I think my marketing my marketing skill set is probably like a 6 or 7 compared to yours. I mean, yours is a 10 across the board.
I think you have all the tools, right? You just don't have the team behind it. You have that personality that lights up the room. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Like there's a few people, you and I can have a conversation on your couch on our darkest of days.
Yeah.
And it'll still probably be the best conversation I had all week.
Yeah.
There's very few people in this planet that I could say that can walk into a room and change the atmosphere. The clouds move away. The weather got a little warmer. No matter what you're going through personally, you change that. You just need a few people behind you that believe in you. A few people that you work with.
I appreciate that.
That's it.
It's not supposed to be an emotional podcast. But damn, man.
Well, I love you, bro.
Got me all choked up over here. I do appreciate that. And like we were just like you said on the couch, right? We were talking about it.
Yeah.
It was.
How great was that conversation?
It was great, man. I did appreciate that. Thank you. I know it was a bad week, right? It was a bad week.
I had a feeling you were going through something.
Like everybody goes through some stuff. Like
we're allowed to.
We talk about mental health all the time. And the first thing you said when you actually came here, you're in a better mental space.
Yeah.
Right. How you doing? I'm great mentally.
Yeah.
I'm great. I feel better about this. I feel better about that. You know, like being in the wedding industry, right? You have to. People don't talk about that.
Nobody asked you.
People,
Yeah.
and I feel like they should if they're interested. But now you're the hired help, so why would they even care? They're paying you for a job,
I
right?
think they care. I think they're just not aware, right? They're not aware that you're not the only person for that weekend. You're not the only bride. You're not the only groom. You are turning on 4 times a week minimum.
Yeah,
4 times, morning to evening.
yeah,
Not only are you turning on, you're on the mic. You're hyping everyone up. You're adding that positive energy.
yeah.
You're also coordinating. You know, you're the COO. You're the chief of
You
operations.
wear a lot of hats.
So many hats. You see it. That's why I got a
See
big
hat.
one, right?
I love your hat, bro. I can't wear hats. I'm telling you. We talked about
I
that.
envy you though, okay? We all envy each other. But bro, like I feel you. I feel everyone in the industry. You know, I look at all the fellow DJs that I grew up with, and I love you guys. I love you guys for being able to carry it on. I wasn't able to, man. I retired 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I still want my feet in the industry because I do love the wedding industry, especially the Desi wedding
The
industry.
wedding industry itself, man, it's a beast, right? You can't
Yeah.
get away from it.
No.
Being in the wedding industry, like you could do so many different things, right? Aside from being a DJ,
Right.
I wear a lot of hats, right? But I don't want to go away from the wedding industry itself because it's a lifestyle.
Is it also an addiction for you?
It is. I'll be very honest with you. It's definitely an addiction because being in charge is one thing, right? But the fame itself, right?
Yeah.
The energy that you get from your clients, your guests, you go somewhere, people automatically know who you are.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
feels-
It's addicting.
It's a high.
It's a high, right? And it's definitely addicting. You know, you said a few minutes ago, you got to be on. You're turned on, right?
Yeah.
So when do you turn yourself off? You know, when you're at home by yourself, you know, like
Music is off.
the music is off,
Lights are low.
the lights are low.
You know.
That's why I like my drives also. Like if I'm in a car, the radio is off. You know,
Yeah.
if it's a short drive, it's definitely on. Coming here, I got to get back in the mindset. The music is on. If I'm going to an event, the music is on. But if it's a long drive, like 2 hours, music is off.
Yeah, and it's the most peaceful thing.
It is, man. You just want to listen to your own thoughts, get lost in your own thoughts, whether good or bad, right? But that peace and quiet, it's so needed. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only time you get to have some peace and tranquility with your own self,
Yeah.
right? A buddy of mine asked me a couple of years ago, Jay, what do you do when you're with your friends and you're off? Because he's also an entertainer as well, right? And you don't want to be on all the time, right? Because you're not working.
Yeah.
You're out with your boys. You're bowling, for example. You can't be on all the time, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna be like? It's not a time to work.
Right.
You
You know,
wanna
sometimes
relax.
people meet you, you know, people that aren't in the industry, civilians, they'll meet you and they expect you to be a certain type,
Yeah.
right? So what are you? Who is the real Jay Rana? Can you please stand up right now? Who's the real Jay Rana?
There's different versions for different people,
Okay.
man. You have to be different versions.
But if you didn't have to be in this industry, right? If you had an opportunity to recreate yourself, which I know we're all addicted in here, but let's just say you're in a multiverse, all right?
Yeah.
And there's a different Jay Rana.
Okay.
This Jay Rana just out there fishing, you know, in the lake, meet some random people. Who's that Jay Rana? Random people that never met you in your life.
You know, I think it all depends on who I'm around. I feel like I'm easily adaptable to my environment, right? You could put me in the suburbs. I'll be the first guy to mow the lawn. You could put me in downtown New York or Miami. I'll be the first person to run that way as well.
Oh my God, that's so true. When I first met you, bro, you had this heavy accent. I don't know what it was. Was it New York almost? But what was your accent? Now I remember 20 years ago, you had this heavy accent.
It was a Jersey accent.
Is that, was it a
It had to be a Jersey accent.
It
Born
was-
and raised.
it-
Born and raised.
Okay. I
Was it
wasn't sure.
ruckus? It was a ruckus accent.
It was a little gangster, you know, New York type of. I could see the Jersey, Staten Island type of accent. you know?
Probably, you know, like we were
That's
all
what it
little
was.
kids at that point
Yeah,
because
we
we met more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I do remember that because your name was
Pre
heavy.
Fire and Ice times.
Yeah, pre-Fire and Ice times.
Because I met your whole family, you know, first, and then I met you while I was still at Rutgers, I think, or maybe towards the end of Rutgers.
Yeah.
I was already Tribe was doing all the parties and everything. I was working with your cousins a lot, you
Yeah.
know, heavy at that time, and then I ran into you. We have a lot of common friends, actually.
You have a lot of common friends.
Yeah. Now I have 0 friends. You're probably like one of 5 friends of mine.
I have 2 friends. I have 2 friends. I have tons of acquaintances.
Right.
Tons of acquaintances, and I tell my girl all the time, I have tons of acquaintances, but I have two friends.
Yeah.
I want to keep it just like that because, like you said, how many versions of J-Ron are there? How many versions of Riz are there?
Yeah. So it was very difficult for me when I got out of the industry. I was telling you this one day. I'll just tell all the followers as well. And for any other entertainers in the industry, hopefully this helps you as well. I felt like I was defined as DJ Riz, Fire and Ice Riz, Tribe Riz. I was defined by that person.
Yeah.
Nobody once sat down and asked me, who is this Riz? What does Riz like to eat? You know, what's Riz's love language? You know, what makes me happy?
Did you have answers for that question?
Absolutely.
Who was Riz?
Absolutely. You know, I was never Riz the business owner. I was never Riz Fire and Ice. I was always Riz the creator. You know, I'm an artist. It just happened to be this is my art form.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it came out through music, whether it came out through entrepreneurship. That's why you see me in so many different realms of business. Nothing is really connected if you look at it, but if you really look outside the lens, it's all connected. Right. I feel like I'm just presenting what I love, what's inside of me, out into the world. I'm just projecting it out.
Yeah.
And we need to survive, so we need to eat, so we need to make money.
There
right?
you go.
Man, if I didn't have to make money, I think about it all the time. You know, everyone calls me a businessman. Let's just say there's no money. Do I have no definition? You know, did everyone miss out the fact that I just love to create? I love to make people happy. That being a DJ is nothing more than being in the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
I just love to not only see one smile on everyone's face, but the whole room lit.
Yeah.
That feeling that you get.
And that's the high we were talking
That's the
about.
high, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a vibration, right? Like whether you're a Buddhist, Muslim, whether you're in church, and when everyone says amen or amen together, or they're chanting, that vibration is the same thing that us DJs, we're bringing that heartbeat.
I like how you put that.
Right? From 90 BPMs,
Yeah.
techno 120, 128. Everyone is bouncing to the same rhythm. All of our hearts are just beating at the same drum. Together, we have this frequency in this room of 300, 400, 500, 1,000 people. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a high, but it's for me almost religious, and I love it.
It's fantastic. I love how you put that. It is a religion, right? I mean, because the thing is, you live it, you breathe it, and it's part of you, right? I always say being in the events industry is a lifestyle. It's not a job, right? Because a job you can walk away from. This you can't walk away from.
No.
Like people have tried.
Dude, it's a responsibility that if you don't take it, think about it. A wedding is one of three things that a bride might be dreaming of since she was a kid.
And you're part of that very special moment.
You have to be responsible for that. You cannot call out sick.
Nope.
Okay?
That shit don't
You
work.
cannot be off. If things go wrong, you have to fix it because no matter what, that bride has been looking forward to that for 25, 30, whatever X amount of years.
Yep.
And you got to make it beyond perfect.
100%, man.
That's a responsibility, man.
It's a big responsibility because, like you said, you got to be on. Even if you're sick, you can't call out sick. Even if you're having a bad day, you're having a bad week, you're having a bad month, you just broke up with your girl, or you're having some type of issues, it doesn't make a difference, right? You got to work. A couple of days ago, I was online, and a couple of my colleagues, they posted, or they vented about entertainers and people in the wedding industry as also being humans. You know, we're out on the road every single weekend. You do a party from like a full day wedding. You're on site at 7 a.m. You leave site at 12 midnight.
Yeah.
Right. You pack up your gear. By 1:30, you're out the door. You go back to where you got to go the next site.
Of course.
Sometimes you pull over on the side of the road. You fall asleep.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get back into the motion, get back on site the following day, figure out a hotel room to shower up, right? Look fresh to death, and repeat. And it's constantly doing the same thing. The damage you're doing to your body, bro.
Yeah.
The damage you're doing to your psyche at this point, right? You're going to get burnt out. The same old, right? So I told all my guys the same thing. You got to step out of it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Try different things. That's exactly what I did, right? Being a DJ in the beginning, it was great. But then I burnt myself out because it was the same stuff over and over again. So I decided to put on a different hat, right, as an MC. Then again, the more you grow, the bigger you are, it becomes repetitive after a while. Then you do something else, right? Coordination. And luckily for us, that's the right way because it's always self-evolving. It's always constantly changing. And with that change, it's difficult for you to get burnt out in that aspect of it. Like you said to me earlier, Jay, what do you want to do if you weren't in the wedding industry? To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I will, you know what? Growing up, I did want to be a cop.
That's so funny. That's what I want to be too.
I wanted to be a cop.
Okay, that's wild. Okay.
Yeah. I always felt like I had to protect. I'm the oldest brother of 4 kids, right? So I was protecting them. And I've always been a bigger build. I was a short, fat kid back in elementary school. And then I started to shoot up a few inches here and there. But I've always been the one to go defend other people. I'm a big believer in the underdog. I'll always support the underdog no matter what the situation is, right? So I always wanted to be a cop. I remember back in high school, after graduation, I was going to go join the Marines. And my mom said no.
Of course, the Desi
Mom
mom
says,
would
you
never
cannot
say.
join the Marines. I'm like, but Mom, I want to go to the Marines. Nope. So I took a step back. I did the whole college thing and did the whole DJ thing and entertainment thing. But till this day, if I had the opportunity to go back and be a cop, I would love to be a cop.
Oh, wow. Okay.
100%, man. I feel like you have to, defend, right?
Lieutenant J.
I like that. The thing is, you have to defend. I mean, as a leader of the community, right? You have to be the first and in the forefront, right? Safety first at all times. I mean, that's why I feel like that's one of the secrets to my success in the wedding industry as a leader and not being a follower. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing with being a cop or being in the army or the armed forces. They're all leaders in their own respect. You know what I'm saying? None of them are going to be followers. And that's exactly what we all needed. You know what I'm saying? So if I had an option to go back and change things, I think I would go and join the Marines. 100%.
Wow. Okay.
100%. Or be a lawyer. I like to argue. I'm pretty good with my words.
I just feel like you could do it all, right? I think you brought up something about age, right? Being 40, it's a pivotal time for all of us. For me, maybe it was 39. I was like, oh my God, I'm turning 40, right? All year. I was depressed at age 39. But when I came to 40, man, I really embraced it. I loved every moment of it because I have changed so many times. For me, the purpose of life is happiness. There is nothing more important in life for me and the people around me than to be happy and to project happiness.
Yeah.
Why else are we living? I'm not working because I want to work, and I'm not working because I want to save $1.
Yeah.
I'm working because I want to buy something so I can be happy. I'm working because I want to save so in the future I don't have to work and I could be happy.
And you could be happy at the end of the day.
So I just cut all the middleman stuff out, and I just choose to be happy. Whether it's a job, whether it's coming to this podcast, whether it's eating, it's so important for me to be happy. And I just feel like you being a leader, you want to protect, right? Me also being a leader, I just want to make everyone happy.
Do you think, like you say, you want to be happy, but happiness comes in so many different forms, right? I feel like money can make somebody happy.
Sure.
Food can make somebody happy.
Sure.
Having a family can make somebody happy.
Absolutely.
So forth and so on, right? So it's all subjective at that point, right? So what makes you happy, though? Is it the freedom to...
So I would say, as Einstein's theory of relativity, right? It's all relative for everyone.
Yeah.
And it also changes as you get older and different points of your life.
Absolutely.
Right? So when I was younger, I wanted to be a DJ. That's all I wanted to be. All I ever wanted to be was to DJ.
Yeah.
Right? And then I DJ'd. Then I realized, oh my God, you can't just feed yourself being a DJ. You need to have a crew. You need to buy equipment. And I ended up becoming the leader of my DJ group. Right? Mm-hmm. I didn't like that because I wasn't able to DJ. Right? So then I had to do the business part. I fell in love with that.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the production of it all, of creating. Right? And then from there, started hosting parties, right? That's what I want to do at that time, you know? I no longer found the level of happiness as DJing as I did as hosting the parties, because as a DJ, while I'm on set, I could do so much. But as being the party promoter, as being the organizer, I have a say in every little detail to enhance everyone's experience.
Yeah.
Right? From there, I bought a nightclub, right? I took an old nightclub and I revamped it It turned into an experiential spot because I personally felt at that moment, if I was to take a girl out on a date, where can I go? I can only take her to the movie theaters, bowling, shoot some pool.
So you made a business decision in buying a nightclub based on where you want to take your girl on a date?
Well, I was actually hosting parties, but imagine if I was that romantic, right? Yo, let me just drop $1 million real quick just for this one date.
I mean,
I would do crazy stuff like that.
I feel like some of us should. If you have the opportunity to do so, why not? Absolutely. I mean, because that makes all the difference, right? Because you're thinking outside the box at that point.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to go to the movies like you said.
No.
You don't want to go to Olive Garden.
No,
I mean, we've all been there.
different.
Yeah. So let me buy a
Let's
nightclub.
just buy a nightclub real quick for this first date.
There you go.
Let's see how it goes. And I did end up marrying the girl, so it kind of works.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that's what I thought, right? Having a hookah is a 45-minute exchange. You're conversating, you're passing it back and forth. You're going to eat something. You're going to get some chai, or you're going to get, a drink.
You said chai.
Get some hummus, right?
Yeah.
Or some wings, or some fries. You're
I'm a
get
wings
something.
guy myself. I love wings.
So it forces you to talk and interact with someone for 45 minutes. The reason why I probably wouldn't get back into the nightclub hookah lounge industry, or at least the nightclub industry, is because I don't feel that the social experience is there. People are standing on top of tables, their chairs, their sofas in their VIP section in their own bubble. I always try to pop the bubble.
Okay.
Let's all spread it together, which is why I launched Tribe Studios. It's not a typical photography studio, as everyone may think.
Okay.
It's more of a selfie experiential spot.
I like that.
Where you come in and there's 8 different backdrops and you have these different experiences. And the way I built the backdrops is for my own shoots, for my own clients, and for my own businesses on how would I want to enhance a content. How would I want to enhance someone's baby shower, or pre-wedding shots, or first birthdays, different models, different businesses.
Yeah.
That's how I built the whole thing as a business. So from B to B, what do you need, right?
Yeah.
What do I need? And that's how I built it. And from ground up, it's like that, and it's constantly evolving every single month.
So it's all like content creation, I want to say.
For a business owner or for influencers and models, you will look at this as a content creation studio.
Okay.
For maybe, let's say, a bachelorette party or a sorority mixer, it's an experiential spot.
Yeah.
Right now I'm getting booked up for the holidays already.
Nice.
Small events, 15, 20, 25 people. I got a couple of fraternities from Rutgers because I'm right there on Hamilton Street.
Hamilton what?
800 Hamilton Street. I'm right on Hamilton itself.
I remember my last office was on Hamilton and Lewis.
Oh, okay. So maybe 5 streets from there.
I was at the corner of Hamilton and Lewis.
So hold on. I'm 800 Hamilton, so that must be pretty close too
I
then.
want to say 500 Hamilton.
Yeah. Just a few blocks down.
Yeah, it used to be a law office. There's a karate school next door to me. Or was.
Not anymore, my friend. Probably a luxury apartment building.
Probably. Yeah, but it's funny how we're all in the same neighborhood over there. I mean, the thing is, I like that. As we're all growing, right? You're growing, but the thing is, you want to stay in your own backyard. I feel like I want to grow personally in my own backyard and make an impact in my own backyard because my own backyard supported me. I don't want to just take this energy and go down to Miami, for example, or New York, for example. I want to stay in my backyard and support them. That's why I do a lot of my
charity events.
Yeah,
right here.
All my charity events.
That's it.
Because you have to. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the community that supports you, they need your support as well.
I agree. So I would say my infrastructure is in my backyard, but my vision is way past New Jersey, right? It's not enough for me just to be here in New Brunswick. I lived here all my life.
Yeah.
It's barely enough for me to be global, right? Right now we're franchising all over the country.
Nice.
For Happy to Deliver. I love it, man. I get to go to Miami, have a drink at Fontainebleau, talk to amazing owners, tech developers, and people that would have never had this opportunity if I didn't build this business.
Yeah.
Right? I always think about my father when I make my next moves. My man left a village in Bangladesh to really live this American dream.
Yeah.
We didn't honor that, right? For me to be in New Jersey and sit in New Jersey, I dishonored him. Okay. I need to go around and spread the knowledge and opportunity that he gave me. He brought me to America because this is the land of opportunities. I'm pretty sure you heard that all your life.
Yeah.
I need to do more, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna have my infrastructure here because my parents are here, and that's my reasoning behind it. It's really because of my parents and my dog, right? But
And your dog.
yeah. The office has to be walking distance from the house, so me and my dog can walk there. That's the priority. But man, I am not doing my parents, my ancestors justice by just being in the state of New Jersey. I have to let the rest of America know, the rest of the world know how great New Jersey is. Because for some reason, Hollywood makes fun of New Jersey all the time.
All the time.
I got to bring some positivity in New Jersey. We got some great people.
Armpit of America?
Armpit of America. No,
that
it's
makes no sense to
weird.
me.
No, even if you look at from Google Map, okay, Google Earth, we are not an armpit.
It doesn't make any sense to me. You said that you came, your dad came from a village from Bangladesh over here.
Yeah.
And you want to do them right? Like
Correct.
you want to go international.
Yeah.
Right? And happy to
Happy to
deliver
Yeah,
is your company.
correct.
Talk to me about that because I know it was a COVID baby.
It was a COVID baby, yes.
So how did that come into fruition?
So actually, it came into being motivated by guys like you.
Okay.
Right? It was a bad situation here
Yeah.
in New Jersey, in the world, and I live right next to Robert Wood Johnson. I have a lot of friends that are in the medical industry, so I brought all these masks back. I was actually in Bangladesh at this time, so I saw what was happening because Asia got hit hard already.
Mm-hmm.
I knew we were going to be in a shortage, so I think I bought like 10,000 masks. At first, I bought it for business, just to be honest. And I came back. Before I landed, I sold like a couple of thousand. But when I got to New Jersey, I saw how bad it was, and I just felt terrible. So I started giving masks away, right? Just whoever needed it. I prioritized to first responders first. And then having the marketing company, no one needs marketing when their business is shut down, right?
Right.
So a couple of my clients, they have limos and all these other things. So we decided to get together and start delivering the masks because now who's going to give it to them?
Yeah.
A couple of my friends own restaurants, catering industries, and everything. And when they wanted to help out too, they saw that I was doing this fundraiser, helping people out on Facebook. They reached out to me. So I said, hey, listen, I know you have elder parents. I will come pick it up myself, and I'll drop it off to you. And then it got further. My parents, they live in a adult community.
Okay.
So people in that community, they couldn't get medicine and things. So
That's so unfortunate, man.
it was that tough, man.
It's I can't even
Yeah.
go into that whole conversation right now because it did affect home.
Yeah.
COVID affected us and my family very deeply, and it's unfortunate, But there's so many more stories, like you were talking about. I'm sorry for cutting you.
No worries. I mean, it hit deep for me as well and personal, right?
Yeah.
So the least I can do at that moment was all my friends that didn't live in New Jersey. I had a few friends from Florida and out of state that said, hey, Riz, do you mind just dropping off food, medicine to my parents? And it was heartbreaking for me, right? And then those same friends, like, you need to get paid for this. I was like, no, I'm going to do this for free. And then things were adding up. I noticed $2,000, $3,000 was coming out of my pockets because I didn't have the heart to ask Uncle Auntie, hey, man, can you give me $30, $40 for your groceries? But it did add up. And at this time, I'm technically unemployed, right? There's us being small business owners. I didn't get any grants. I don't know about you.
Nope.
I couldn't get unemployment. I got zero things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now I'm paying out of my pocket for all this stuff. I also have staff, so I'm still paying for my staff, right? It was definitely a tough time. And I just made the decision, let me just start this delivery business. And it was really B2B. The whole idea is, just like you're an advocate for your community, I am an advocate of small business owners. The struggle that we go through and how underrepresented we are is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
When
I have to agree.
When something happens to us, zero people are there for us. All these politicians that come to us to get votes, to get money, to do fundraisers, to do events, to have our space, they turn around when we need their help. I hate that. So I'm an advocate for any small business owner, and I'll help them out. So I started the delivery business. I realized, wow, okay, the Ubers, the Grubhubs, they're all just fighting over people, delivering people, or delivering food. So let me do anything but that. So I started delivering non-perishable items. I reached out to multiple businesses that actually does not do deliveries. When people think about deliveries, they think about like UPS, FedEx and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they don't realize someone like Martha Stewart made her millions in her backyard.
Facts.
So after reading her book, I was like, wow, I could do deliveries in a 5-mile radius And there's not a single business that's actually catering to that. When you go look at sales for business, there is direct to consumer. There is e-commerce, which again you're shipping out, and believe it or not, 2% is still phone sales out there in the world, right? Someone's calling in, hello, I would like to order some chai. I'll come pick it up. 2% is still phone sales, and then 18% is actually local deliveries. One company figured it out really well. They're called Amazon. That's their business model.
That's the business model. You took the words out of my mouth. Gotcha.
So I created it a little differently. I'm only charging for the delivery by miles, items delivered. I don't take a percentage from the business whatsoever. So you as a business owner can grow your business, but now I just added another leg. In addition to direct sales, in addition to e-commerce, now you can do local deliveries. I had to almost re-educate a lot of business owners about that. Like grocery stores, think about that. Your local bodega, right? If they were able to just locally deliver to everyone without giving a percentage away to DoorDash or Uber Eats or anything like that, they can increase their sales by 18%. And the irony is, if you go onto the platforms of these sites, they take 18%. The math is out there.
Yeah.
So I'm only charging a delivery fee, which because of COVID, now everyone's actually used to a delivery fee.
Yeah.
It's a convenience for them. And think about all the elderly. That's really the biggest motivation. I never knew how hard it was because I live with my parents. So if they need anything, Rizwan, I need this right now. Okay, no problem.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
man.
thank God Patel Videos ain't there because I'll be going to Patel Videos every weekend probably while my parents are retired.
Like my parents are retired too, and I used to live with them for all my life. And they recently moved down to Florida, right? It's been like 2 years. But I still get a call every couple of days. Jay, I need this. I need this. And I'm like, Dad, I'm like a flight away now. He's like, well, figure it out. And I figured it out, That's why you said that you might be also launching Happy to Deliver in the Florida area.
Yeah, I am.
Nice.
We have tons of inquiries in the Miami area, Miami-Dade, Fort Lauderdale, all that.
Nice.
I just got to put the infrastructure together. I need the delivery staff. I did the math, right? You need X amount of business to be able to go in. So I'm short of maybe 2 or 3 more clients, and then I could go straight into Florida.
That's exciting times, man.
Yeah. So, that's what I love about business, right? You get to create.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is, I can't sing, right? I can't dance. I can't rap, right? So
what's the next best thing?
So business is my art form. So I'm creating something from scratch. There's no difference, right? I'm visualizing it. I'm dreaming it. I'm writing it down. I'm going it over. I'm building a team. I'm putting it on YouTube, whether it's through a podcast, putting it on social media, whether it's through Instagram, and creating flyers, creating commercials for it. And that is how I treat all my businesses, right? It's an art form for me. And it's extra joyous when I get a call. I got a call this weekend from Detroit. Hey, I want to expand you on Detroit. I've never been to Detroit in my life.
That's fantastic.
I was like, I can't wait to meet Eminem. That's what I'm thinking, right? Detroit, somewhere that I've never been to. And that's why I'm so grateful for my parents, because if they didn't take that jump to come here, I wouldn't be able to take this jump to go anywhere else. And they were supportive of me, of not being the typical engineer, doctor, lawyer, right? So
was that different for you? Like you said that your parents always supported you, not being the typical engineer, lawyer. Was that always from the jump start, or it happened eventually once they saw your successes?
It happened after the success,
yeah,
right? Which I'm pretty sure sometimes it's a little heartbreaking,
100%.
Right?
100%.
Hey, Dad, I told you I want to do this at 14. Now I'm 24. Can you let me do this now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. There was no doubt. The only doubt came from duties as a son, as a first son.
Hey, same here, man. We have a lot of expectations on our head.
Correct.
Because we're the only son. Mm-hmm. And everything is going to be on our shoulders.
Yeah.
And you said earlier today that you turned 40 and your back hurt because you're carrying all these things.
Yeah.
It's part of it, man. But I'm sure your parents are thrilled.
They have to be.
To see all your successes. They have to be.
They have to be. Listen, parents are vain, right? I came from them, right? This is my parents, and I know you can relate. Dad, Mom, I know you're going to see this, so I'm sorry ahead of time. They're going to say no, no, no. But once they see the success, oh yeah, I told them to do that. I bought his first speakers. I used to take him to the parties. No, you didn't. You didn't take me to a party. I just want to tell you that. But hey, man, it's all good. But eventually, after they see the success, they realize it's not a hobby, right? And that could have been the difficulty of our industry. It's so much fun. Everyone thinks it's a hobby. They don't take it real.
Yeah.
But the few people that took it seriously, bro, at age 16, I used to wear a suit, my dad's suit, oversized, right? Call my crew that I used to call tribe DJs back then, and have these professional meetings in this conference table, which in my office right now, 24 years later, I still have, because all my life I knew I'm going to take this conference table that I picked up from a garage sale.
I like that.
And I knew that I'm going to have my own office outside of my parents' basement, and I still have it. There's scratches all over it. There's, drink splatter. There's hookah coal burns and everything. But I love it because those are all my war scars. Those are my battle scars.
100%, man. I remember when I got my first office, I just had to celebrate. I sat there for a while at my desk. It was down in Rahway, my first office, my very, very first office on my own. And I was like, oh, I guess we made it.
You gotta bleep that out. Just want to put that out there. All right.
And that was the first office.
Yeah.
I sat there. I was thinking, we all started from pressing play from back then, right? All the gears of my dad's garage, and you're making house calls, meeting with your clients. I went to Boston for a meeting, for a party I didn't even get, but they wanted to have a face-to-face. There was no FaceTime at that point. This was like back in the day. There was no
just use your iPhone. Why don't you Zoom them? Send them a Zoom link.
Yeah,
right?
let me send them a Zoom link in 2002, right? They're like, what is this? So I drove all the way to Boston for a party I didn't even get.
Yeah.
But you got to do all these things, right? And fast forward to my first office, and that was great. I made it. It was a little 15 by 15 office, right? It was nice. And then fast forward a few more years, a few more offices after that. My last office was in the one in New Brunswick, right? 2,500 square feet, bro. Multiple offices, conference table, all that good stuff. I had my sofas, my couches. If I had a shower in my office, I would have never left. Yeah. I would have never left. Like, I sat there, I put my feet up on my desk, and I was like, nice.
Yeah.
Now what?
That's the moment, right?
Yeah.
I would want some chai right away. Yeah. Like in India, when you have like a chai wala, you have your assistant, bring me chai right now for me and Jay. That was probably the dream to go in the back of my head. But listen, I would never say that my parents did not support me, because they could have easily put their foot down. Like, absolutely not. We're sending you back to the village in Bangladesh. You're going to get married to, Shamala or whatever.
Shamala?
Yeah, Shamala. You're going to get married to Shamala, and you guys are going to have 3.5 children together, and you're good to go. But they didn't, They voiced and expressed their concerns a lot, but they still let me carry on.
It's a brown thing to do, though. I mean, your parents are always going to look out for you, right?
Of course.
You're their son, you're their offspring, so they know what's best for you.
Yeah.
Right?
At the end of the day, being 40, they were right. If I listened to every word my mom and dad said, my life would have probably been easier. I would have had a cookie cutter life, and it would have been easy. I would have got up, gone to work, came back, not gone to a podcast, showered, went to my 3.5 children, with Shamala, and that would have been my life.
And that would have been okay.
That would have been fine.
Exactly.
But no, we're insane.
Yeah, we want things which are not normal.
We think this is normal.
This is, right?
I love this shit.
So let me ask you a question. You just went in a whole different direction. To this, to the outside world, what we're doing right now, being entrepreneurs, talking about the podcast, talking about businesses, and this and that, that's the uncertain, right?
Yeah.
That's not sane.
No.
The sane thing to do is to...
Certain path.
There you go, right? You have your 9 to 5, you have your security, you have your family, and that's it. And that's fine. And that's sane to them.
Yeah.
I think that's insane.
Because that's how we're wired. See, I'm never mad at someone that doesn't support me until I make it. I understand. They were trained and wired all their life to go this path, stay safe, and that's the right way. Of course they're not going to support us. They're trying to give us warning. Hey, Jay, hey, Riz, maybe this isn't the right route. Did you think about this, that, the what ifs? I don't give
so many
damn about the what ifs, bro. If I care about the what ifs, I would not be here right now. Yeah. This is not normal at 4 p.m. on a weekday, on a Monday to have a conversation with you. I should be wrapping up some boring accounting work or something like that, going home to my wife and talking to her about my boring day, right? I can't do that. as you can tell, I consider that as a negative characteristic. I can't live
Clearly.
like that. I want to talk to you. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know what the rest of the DJs in our industry, rest of the vendors, what are they going through for real, and how can I help them? Because I swear to God, it's so important to be happy,
It is.
right? So I want to look out for those guys. I want to make sure, hey man, today's Monday. You must be off. We almost have a PTSD. The lights are off.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you do when it's off?
Yeah.
Like most of these guys are going to be sleeping, right?
Yeah.
Most of my vendor friends, they're off. They're sleeping.
The blinds are off.
They're
They all got
recouping.
blackout lights,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's crazy. Everybody got blackout
Everyone got
curtains.
blackout
We all have blackout curtains.
If
Everybody
you
in the wedding
look at our
industry.
lifestyle on a Monday and Tuesday, you would think we're actually all depressed people,
Yeah.
right? And maybe we do suffer from depression. We just don't know it.
That's the thing. We don't know it. And that's where the mental health comes into play. And I want to talk about that. Like there's a couple of things I want to talk about in the future. Like I'm sure this podcast is going to evolve into a lifestyle podcast, right?
I believe it. I think you're going to finally let people talk about what they've been struggling with inside, and you're going to normalize a lot of things.
And this is a safe place to do so because we can all relate.
Yeah.
It's a non-judgment zone, and I'm huge on that. You know, like you said that your father or your mother or your parents weren't supporting you in the beginning, right?
Correct.
Until you were a success.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. Until I was a success. And the same thing to our industry and our followers and all that good stuff. No one's going to support you
No.
until you're a success.
They're going to say your remix album, it's terrible. They're going to say it's bad until everyone else says, oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, why are you doing it? Someone else already did it.
Yeah.
Why are you going to remix songs that's already been remixed by multiple people, that's been stolen by America and redone in Bollywood?
Yeah.
Why? What if? I just don't listen to that noise, man. You know,
All that background noise.
there's a reason why DJs wear headphones.
I like that. All that background noise, man. All that negativity, you got to push it out.
We just tune out the outside world, and I truly believe DJing saved a lot of our lives.
Yeah.
Right? We're torn. You know, people talk about what do you identify as, right? I identify as someone that just wants to be happy in a world that's always telling me that my beliefs will not make me happy. So I didn't join the Marines, right? I'm not a gym rat. I was a DJ. So music saved my life. I love that Friday and Saturday. I didn't have to actually talk to my parents and explain to them what's really in my heart because they couldn't identify
Yeah.
with what made me tick. I couldn't explain to them why I don't want to go to college and do this stuff. I tried, but it just doesn't make me feel alive, right? But every moment we step in front of an audience, 5 people or 500 people, I'm sure you get the same exact feeling,
Yeah, I do.
right? But also when we step off the stage on that Monday and Tuesday, we all have blackout curtains. We all do not like listening to music on our ride back. It's so quiet, you know? We don't get our checks all the time right then and there, but we got to pay our staff at that moment. And you wonder, do they appreciate my work? How come I didn't get paid on
And you
time?
always like to double check yourself.
Yeah.
You're like, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. And you always like in second guess yourself, you know, because
That's not healthy though.
even though if you can't, it's not healthy at all, but we all go through it.
Look at what we're eating, what we're drinking. It's not a healthy lifestyle.
No.
Us vendors in the wedding industry, the hours. How can you sustain a family, right? And that is the cold, dirty truth. I got out of DJing. I got out of the club industry because I got a divorce. I lost the love of my life because of the industry, right?
That's crazy you say that, man. We're part of so many love stories. So many love stories. Like you said, man, this is their very best day of love, of the memories, of the celebrations. But us as the vendors, we're struggling with love.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a stranger to like failed relationships.
Yeah.
I'm not. I also was married, divorced, been in relationships here and there, try to make it work, right? But being in the wedding industry, it's different, man. The woman has to be built a certain way to deal with me, I want to say, right?
Yeah.
And also my expectations. Unfortunately, I'm jaded, you know? I've seen not all, but a lot of my couples who get divorced. You know, I've seen the reasons why they get married. It's not because of love all the time. You know, there's so many other factors.
Yeah.
Love is a byproduct, I want to say, right? But there's so many other factors that motivates them to walk down the aisle and walk around a fire, right?
Right.
I see marriage differently, but that's just me because I seen it from the inside out,
Yeah.
you know, and from the outside in. I mean, I seen it. I still see it. I still.
Do you still
live
believe in it though? Do you still believe in love? Do you believe in marriage?
I believe in peace. I believe in self love. I believe in a Zen lifestyle, right? If my partner can make it work for me, beautiful. Do I believe in love? I would love to. Do I love her? Absolutely. Do I feel like there's more? 100%, you know? But love is also a science at that point.
Yeah.
You know?
It's chemistry.
There you go.
Right.
It's all chemistry.
You know, you brought up something before, this unknown factor that we go, this fear of the unknown that we all dive into. We're going to go into uncharted territories, and there's so much fear, there's so much self-doubt that we have ourselves, but no one's asking us about that.
It's a leap of faith.
It's a leap of faith. Do you practice that same leap of faith, that same fearless attitude with everything else in your life?
I try to. You know? It could be anything. It could be a new move. It could be a new career path, right? Like, for example, a new career path. Also in the wedding industry, there's a new banquet hall opening up. It's called Titan Union. I'm the new director of operations and sales.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm excited, but also nervous, right? It's a new role. It's a new set of responsibilities, but I'm going to dive into it, right? Wholeheartedly. It's a leap of faith. Am I going to expect the best? 100%. Am I going to expect the worst? Probably, right? But at least I know that.
So you don't think it's insane? You call it a leap of faith. You don't think it's actually insane?
It is insane.
At this age, so much success you've seen, you could continue in this trajectory. You just multiply what you have. You could franchise what you have. But you're deciding to go into something kind of different, and your opportunity time and your opportunity cost is going to be eaten up by it. You were just talking about how you don't have enough hours. This is the same hours multiplied, right? Probably less money. It's insane, Jay. But you're still going to do it.
I'm still going to do it. Do you know why?
Why?
Well, you said like you're looking for happiness. That's your end goal. I'm looking to make an impact.
Okay.
I want to make an impact.
I could tell, yeah.
You know, in this world, there's so much, what can I say? There's so much love, so much hate, so much damage, so much creativity, so much of, it's an abundance of everything, right? In any word of it, there's an abundance of everything. I personally just want to make an impact.
Okay. But you're jaded. So how do you impact the world positively if you're jaded?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for you today.
You need self-help, my friend. You need to go through.
I think this podcast is my self-help.
I actually totally agree. You asked me, why did I dive into the podcast world? So besides for my marketing company and for other clients, you know, we're always doing for others. I took a journey in 2017 to myself. How can I love someone else, right? How can I get over my jaded feelings if I don't learn to love myself? And then after I actually truly learned to love myself, I looked around me in my circle, right? And the next person in my life is my best friend, Uncle Garg. And we had a lot of issues. We both had businesses. We both had ups and downs. We both had relationships. We both had ups and downs. And we didn't let ourselves heal. However, being in each other's lives, we took the brunt end of it. We really took each other's negativity, the toxic feeling, you know, where they say that, you know, your tank, you know, your emotional tank is filled at a certain amount, and then you drain yourself. When you're taking on someone's, you know, hurt, and you try to be empathetic towards them, you're refilling with all this negativity, and you're emptying out all this positivity that you have, and you have no way to refill it, which is why so many DJs and vendors at the end of a weekend is actually emotionally drained.
Yeah.
We're empty. No one filled it up for us in a positive way. Nobody's asking us, how are you? You know, did you eat? Like, genuinely, right? And it's sometimes heartbreaking because we care so much for our clients and their family and their friends. Because I think all my clients are family.
100%.
You know, I've seen people that I've DJed their Sweet 16s, their high school graduations, and their weddings. And it's the most beautiful thing in the planet.
Yeah, it's full circle right there.
Right? And you're part of all these important things. But I wonder, when I have a kid, will they call me and congratulate me? Because I'm sure you still congratulate all your clients, whether they booked you now or not, because you built this connection.
100%. Yeah, it's a relationship that you have with like all your clients.
So in 2017, me and Encore were in different stages in our life, and we drifted apart. And it was a very negative, drift. But it wasn't because of anything that we did. It's probably because of all the things unsaid.
Yeah.
Right? We dived into this world, this fear of unknown, where, gravity itself doesn't work towards the law of physics, right? Where if we do something, it's supposed to attract all this positivity. It didn't, right? You're supposed to attract your significant other, your soulmate. It didn't. It drifted you apart. Going into the world of a business, going to the world of what you want in life actually pushes away everything that you're quote unquote supposed to have. And it's difficult when you're in your 30s and you think you're supposed to have everything set.
It's devastating, bro.
Devastating.
That's the word, man. It's devastating because like you want this.
Yeah. And you thought you did it right.
Yeah. But now you just pushed everything away.
Yeah. And then we didn't give ourselves time to heal, to figure out what on earth just happened, At that moment, me and Uncle decided to start our journey together. And it evolved years into the podcast where actually our friendship was falling apart so badly. This was actually what helped us. This is what solved our friendship. We even at the season finale, it was so emotional, and we told each other, I hated you, bro. I hated you halfway through the season. I couldn't stand you, We didn't talk. We would just come in, do the podcast, because now we have followers and people are expecting something. We'll do the podcast and we leave. And I let everybody know that season, that episode, that's what the situation was.
What was the reaction?
From each other or from the world?
We'll start with each other first.
So, I mean, it was quietness because I don't think men are built to be vulnerable or to even accept apologies or be genuine, right? Our defense goes up. And then the result, though, is what I care about us, the best man at his wedding.
Yeah. It was a good time.
It was a great time. It was the most love I felt in such a long time, the whole week. I felt like I was getting married.
Nice.
Right? I'm deeply dive into not only the good things in life, but also the bad things. I know how the man ticks, and I'm there for him without him even asking me.
Yeah.
Right? I understand all his love languages. I understand how his love languages has changed over time. We both have taken the time out to get to know each other. And that's what the podcast was for me. It was therapy for us.
Yeah.
So, you become the average of the people you hang out with. So even after you heal yourself, if the people around you aren't healed, you're going to take on those toxins. So it's important for me to only connect with people that also healed and to repair my relationships with everybody. And there's nothing better than a face-to-face, a vulnerability of putting yourself out there in the world and hopefully, as you said, an impact. I know there's other guys, there are other vendors that's feeling the same way we're feeling. And sometimes I honestly don't know how I'm feeling because I'm so mentally strong that when someone reaches out to me, they hit a nerve. I'm like, hey, man, you're right. That is exactly how you felt. And I felt like even in our talk, you felt certain things.
100%. Like, because the thing is, you can't talk about anything that's sad, right? But I feel like wedding industry vendors, we're sad.
Yeah.
We try to be happy. It's a genuine happiness, 100%.
Because we love what we do.
Exactly. We love
but
what we do.
But we're lonely.
We are lonely. I feel like I'm lonely all the time.
Super Robin Williams like.
Robin Williams, I talk about him quite often, right? Because he went through the same thing for his whole lifetime, right? As an actor, he had his on switch, he has his off switch, and he couldn't be off with his friends and family because they had expectations of him, right? So when he was off, he had to be by himself, and that just spiraled down into a tragic ending at that point, right? Hopefully, like you said, there's other vendors in our industry who feel that they need mental help in some form or fashion, right?
Yeah.
Some type of a support system. And hopefully the Jay Rana show becomes that platform for them, a safe space to have a conversation. And it's okay. It's not about being judged, because we do what we do. We're dope at what we do, so it's all good. But a safe space to just vent and be yourself. That's the whole point. I mean,
Great.
like I said, hopefully the show evolves into something bigger than just weddings, than just the happy face. There's more to weddings than that.
Yeah.
When I talk to my clients, half the time they're happy, but the other half they're crying.
Yeah.
They're stressed the hell out.
And you're their therapist.
Exactly. You're their therapist. I mean,
And who motivates the motivator, right? Who
that's
motivates
the
Jay
question.
Rana?
That's the question, right? So you have to be your own cheerleader. I spoke to a friend of mine years ago. I was talking about my weekend, and I was talking about what a great time it was. And I was giving myself a pat on the back. And then he goes to me, he's like, oh, you really think highly of yourself, don't you? I said, well, listen, as an entertainer and as an entrepreneur, I am my biggest fan. I am my biggest cheerleader. I don't have a boss who's going to say a great job. I don't have superiors who are going to give me a pat on my back. So I have to motivate myself. And that's important to do, and don't ever stop doing that, because I feel like if you can't motivate yourself, you're going to be dependent on other people to do so.
Yeah.
And if they lack in that, then you're going to be disappointed. So now you're disappointed. That's going to go into depression. That's going to just go down the rabbit hole of darkness.
So I think that's where the disconnect is, and I think that's why a lot of the relationships are not working out, especially with Desi people,
Yeah.
right? Right now, I don't date Desi girls, right? Because there's no connection. They don't either A, take our line of work seriously,
Okay.
because they're going to compare it to someone else. Oh, so-and-so's doing that. Of
That's
course.
a Desi thing. That's such an Indian thing, comparing all the time for what?
There's no reason, right? It's something they picked up from the soap operas, from the parents, from the mothers.
Because you want to do bigger and better? I mean, I don't understand. You got to...
I have one life, and this is my perspective,
Yeah.
right? I am the hero in the story. And you talked about peace. Peace starts from home. You want to go home and you want to be at peace, or if not, oh my God, your wife should be your cheerleader. She should be your greatest fan. It starts out that way always, but it doesn't end that way. It stops for some odd reason. But when I'm with a non-Desi girl, they love what I do. They love going to my parents' house. They love seeing my parents' house. Like, oh my God, look at this huge mansion. I take a Desi girl, oh, so-and-so has a bigger house. Get out of here,
It's comparing. It's an Indian thing to do. It really
Think
is.
about how hard our parents worked to get to where we are. They left their mom and dad, their family, their brothers and sisters, for just respect that. Sure, someone else has a bigger house. Good for you, But they look at me as a DJ like, I cannot believe you're DJ. All my friends love DJs. I want to introduce, they're our cheerleaders. They want to show us off. And I love that. I love everything about that.
I have to agree with you.
And that's the dirty truth.
It is. I mean, I've dated Indian girls, Indian women, and non-Indian women as well. And you're 100% right. I feel like because they're just used to comparing,
Right.
The grass is always going to be greener on the other side.
Yeah.
That's a Desi mentality. My cousin, who also used to DJ, he stopped DJing because he hated the fact that he was looked down upon.
There's no reason to look down upon.
The
most important night of your daughter, of your wife, of yourself's night is relying on a DJ. That DJ made your life, your future. And you're going to look down upon that entire industry? No way. That should be illegal.
Yeah.
Can we pass a law on that? Whoever's going to win for presidency,
But that's still the case, right? As a DJ?
Only in the Indian world.
Only in the Indian world. Yeah. I do have to agree. And why is that, though? Because it's not taken seriously? I mean, is it because of I feel like it's a money thing. It's always going to be a money thing.
It's not true. I know tons of DJs that made tons
That's
of money.
the thing I'm trying to get at, right? If it's a money thing, there's DJs that make a lot more money than doctors.
Yeah.
And
have a lot more flexibility. You and I can have this conversation because of the career of work that we went into.
100%.
Right? And we are also helping other people. We are making an impact. People are going to watch this show. We're taking the time. You're not making $1 out of this. This is costing you money.
There you go.
You are investing your dollars to help someone else.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
what is the difference between a doctor and you? You save someone's life over and over, weekend after weekend. And you have much better bedside manners.
And I care.
And
I care about that smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? It's all about it. You got to put your whole self into it. If you don't, then what's the point of even doing it? I feel like that's where the mental health comes into. because you gotta do it for the right reasons. You know, a lot of my colleagues, I don't care if it's a photographer, a catering company, an event planner, they all do it for the clout. They all do it for money. They all do it for, the fame, something that's what they need, right? I do it for different reasons. It's not for the money, you
Let's
know.
do it for love, man. I'm telling you, love solves everything. Let's do it for happiness. It solves everything. If you're in a bad mood, it's gonna make you feel better. If you talk to a plant in a happy way, the plant is gonna live longer. Happiness is the point, bro.
Happiness is the point.
Yeah, that's the happy to
Happy to
deliver.
deliver. Took the words right out of my mouth. I love that, bro. Bro, that's our time.
Oh,
That's our time. We went over an hour like we're supposed to, flawlessly, seamlessly, and
organically.
And this is just the first conversation.
Cool.
I got a feeling that this conversation is going to lead to a part two, which is more focused on mental health.
I am there for it. And anything that we could do to help out fellow vendors in the industry, we are both here. I'm here. You could reach out to me. Our information will be below.
Yeah, our information is going to be below if you want to put in a couple of tags.
Yeah, listen, I've been in the industry for more than 20 years, right? 26 years. I have taken the journey as being the guy that carried the speakers in to owning the company, to evolving from the DJ to promoter to nightclub owner, and to selling the business, right? That's one of the hardest things that none of us get to exit.
Yeah.
And I'm still involved heavily into the industry. But the most important thing that I want to pass on my legacy is to be able to help out the future generation. Not just from business wise, of course, I'll give you advice for that, but the fear of the unknown. I reached that fear, right? I traveled to that unknown. So if you don't know where your career is going to be 5 to 10 years, I can let you know. Feel free to message me, and I'll happily help you through everything. No charges. It's my pleasure to help anyone in this industry. Someone has to motivate the motivator. And as we make everyone else's lives better, I'm here to make your life better.
I appreciate that. I'm glad that this podcast took a turn to where it went.
Wait,
right?
where was it supposed to go?
No, because like all the other podcasts, all the other episodes, they're all like, events and more events. It is the wedding industry, right? And that's why I said to you earlier, like this podcast will eventually evolve into a lifestyle podcast, right? Which is very, very important for the wedding industry itself. We can't forget about our personal lives, because at the end of the day, we're all humans.
Yeah.
No matter what superpowers we may have on a day of the event to make our client's life the best of the best, we're still human at the end of the day, and that's very important. People forget that.
Cool. Well, we're here for them.
Beautiful. With that said, thank you for coming. Thank you to my audience, our audience. I really appreciate the love. As always, comment, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And as always, I'll see you on my dance floor. Peace.